Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight to celebrate the launch of In the Light of Peace, Ner Shalom's first, we hope, of many anthologies, poetry anthologies. Ner Shalom has been this miraculous place over the years that I've been part of this community. This synagogue, this strange and unexpected collection of ridiculously talented people have produced so much music and so much poetry that I can sometimes hardly believe it. Poetry has always been part of our tradition. Our textual history is not just laws and stories, but poems, our entire book of Psalms, Song of Songs, Lamentations, Ecclesiastes. All of these books are magnificent poetry, words, thoughts that couldn't be contained in expository language. And the life of antiquity and of the Middle Ages are filled with piyutim, with these prose poems. As soon as we wrote prayers that we had to say every day, then immediately people were exploding with all the poetic language that didn't fit, and producing all of that and bringing that as well into this great fragrant bouquet of Jewish text and ritual and practice. And we are no different from our ancestors. No sooner did we start praying together at Ner Shalom with our non-traditional, non-traditional language than people began writing music and people began writing poetry. And here we are at last with some of it being committed to paper, committed to a medium where it's not ephemeral, where we can have the experience again and again at home as well as collectively. So I'm grateful that all of you are here. You're going to hear from the editors tonight. You're going to hear from many, many of the poets. You're going to see, you just saw the work of the photographers who are included in the book. And I want to thank everyone for being the kind of community that nurtures the flowering of this kind of creativity. It's not just that we have these poets, but we also have fertile soil for them to grow words of tremendous beauty. I would like to introduce our publisher, who is Rabbi Rachel Barenblat of Bayit Publishing. And many of you have known her work for a long time without making this connection. Rabbi Barenblat, Reb Rachel, is also the author of the blog called The Velveteen Rabbi, and has produced such beautiful poetry that we have used for years and years at Ner Shalom, and is a dear friend of mine. Rachel, thank you so much for midwifing this project, and welcome from the East Coast.
Reb Irwin, thank you so much. Everyone at Ner Shalom, thank you for welcoming me. It is an honor to be with y'all tonight as we celebrate the launch of this beautiful volume. As Rabbi Irwin said, I'm Rabbi Rachel Barenblat. Some of you may know me under my nom de internet, which is the Velveteen Rabbi. I've been blogging under that handle for 18 years. I am a congregational rabbi, a poet, an editor, a mom, and I'm also blessed to be the co-founder of Bait Building Jewish, which is the organization that was privileged to bring this book into print. Bait is a spiritual innovation incubator, an artists collective, and a collaborative community, all housed under the umbrella of a nonprofit that seeks to develop, test, refine, and distribute tools for a Jewish future always under construction. And my particular role within Bait is lead builder on our publishing projects, of which In the Light of Peace is one. Our first book was Beside Still Waters, a volume for the mourner's path. Our second was Color the Omer, a contemplative coloring book for the journey between Pesach and Shavuot. And In the Light of Peace is the third volume that we've been blessed to bring to press. I have known Rabbi Irwin for many years and have admired his thoughtful creativity, honestly, even longer than that. And so when I heard that his community was collaborating on a volume of poetry and photography, I was intrigued. When I sat down to read an early draft of the manuscript, I knew immediately that my Bait Chevra and I wanted to partner with Ner Shalom to bring the book to fruition. The poems and the photography in this volume are so rich and resonant and real. Our sages say that Torah has 70 faces. These poems reflect some of those holy faces. And like any sacred book, this one benefits from repeated use. I hope that y'all will read these poems again and again, finding new facets of them and of yourself every time you do. I've spent a lot of time with the volume, so I can tell you that you are in for a real treat tonight. Please forgive me for not being here until the end of the reading. I'm on East Coast time and my kid's gonna wake me up early tomorrow. But I want to offer a blessing for y'all. May these powerful and beautiful poems bless all who read them and pray them and listen to them and encounter them. And may Ner Shalom go from strength to strength. It's a joy to be with y'all tonight.
Rabbi Rachel, thank you so very much for your beautiful words of welcome, for your blessing, and especially for your role in bringing this book to life, in being our midwife. I'm going to be on the East Coast. I'm going to be in Massachusetts in late August. I'm going to keep in touch. Maybe I can come and give you a hug. People, thank you so much for being here. My name is Leiah Bowden, and I served as Chief Poet Wrangler and lead editor on this project. Before I go any farther, because you will be hearing, of course, from the poets, I wanted to give our photographers, Lorenzo Valensi and Adam Shemper, an opportunity to say hello, just to say, hi, this is me. So let's see, Lorenzo, would you like to unmute and just show us who you are, give us your beautiful smile and say something?
Well, let me say something. Thank you, birds. We love the birds. And flowers. There's some good flowers. I like doing photography every day.
And we love the photographs you share on Facebook of birds and flowers every day. Adam, welcome. Adam Shemper, thank you for your beautiful images. Would you like to say hello to us?
Hello, everybody. I'm just glad to be here and feel grateful to contribute images to this project, and I'm really excited to hear the poems. So, thank you.
Wonderful.
I also love birds.
Thanks. Thank you so much for your pictures. We have another photographer who is my son, Seth. I don't think he's here. Seth, are you here? No, he is otherwise engaged this evening, but just so you should know, he's there too. So I just want to say welcome, thank you. I've done my bit. I'm now going to turn it over to one of our other editors, Rita Rowan. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Leiah. I'd like to speak a little bit about the genesis of this book. So I was sitting at a table with a few congregants after a very innovative Ner Shalom bar mitzvah. Our beloved Reb Irwin said, maybe it's time for a poetry book. And just like that, the idea of our book was born. Our deep gratitude goes to Leiah Bowden, who really shepherded this book through her dedication and diligence into the reality of it in the light of peace. Thank you, dear Leiah. And now I'd like to introduce the co-editor, Abby Bogomolny.
Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to Ner Shalom, to all of you, and particularly Irwin, and just saying maybe it's time to do a book, and so I want to talk about a little more about the process of what we did. So Leiah and Rita Rowan and Sally Churgel and myself, I came into the co-editorship a little later. So the pieces had already been chosen. So really the quality of what has been chosen and the vision belongs to Leiah and Irwin and Rita and Sally. I came in to provide a little practical grounding for, gee, how do we publish a book? And some of the nuts and bolts, because I had published books before with my own Burning Bush publications. So I came in a little bit later, and I was the practical Taurus, if you will, even though I'm Aquarius. We worked, I want to say that working together was joyous. This could have been a very stressful process because everything's got real, especially just it was a delight to work with Rachel, but 3,000 miles away and communicating, even through Zoom and email, it could have been very stressful. But I want to say for the record that it was a delight. We worked well together. The vibration between Leiah and the co-editors and all of us in Ner Shalom and all of us and Rachel was wonderful. There was trust, there was beauty, there was love. And this is the result. This is our baby. So thank you all. I'd like to introduce the Sally Churgel. Take it away.
In one of the poems that I included in the book for myself was a poem about entering the new land, which is about starting new projects and new opportunities in life. And one of the things I wrote was that we can't do any of that, no matter how abundant the land is and how much blessings there are. There's always a hill to climb. There's always an obstacle to surmount. And I ended that poem with the line, remember, you cannot climb this hill alone. And that is how I felt during this whole collaboration. It is one of the most amazing team efforts I've ever had in my life, and I've done a lot. It was, as Abby said, it was just so smooth and beautiful. And collaborating with such talented co-editors and astounding poets has been one of the big honors of my life. So not only do I feel not alone, but I feel that proud to be wholeheartedly part of such a beautiful project. So without further ado, let's hear from the poets.
Hello and good evening. I am Robin Birdfeather. We're going in alphabetical order, by the way. And I have two poems in the book. This is the one friends helped me choose. Love is. Love is inspired by my shul sisters and for my mother who was and is. Love has to go somewhere, must reside so that it may do its work, is a moving force, must find many homes. Unstoppable as gravity is, and without the weight. Delighted to be the way light travels, mysteriously constant, penetrates the darkest spaces with caresses of need, bonding like stars do pebble by pebble with the science of connection, resides everywhere, sometimes an orphan, parents unknown, may wander ceaselessly searching, nameless to a fault, lives within tears of joy between the drops, invisible, indivisible, beyond even the special power of neutrinos that know no boundaries, leaps between knowings and beings, unleashes the special forces of existence, transcends the meager attempts of poets trying to capture its essence, its own universe beyond the solidness of rocks, flying airless, burning without heat, flowing between droplets of waves, beyond food, chartless, food of souls, of all beings, timeless, no beginning, no end.
Hello, I'm Laura Blatt, and I wrote this poem on one very peaceful Shabbat. It's called A Day of Rest. Begin at sunset with challah and candles, dinner for two or more, praise on printed pages, a book of poems. Turn off phones, computers, all electronics, turn up inner voice. At sunrise enjoy luscious strawberries, so sweet, so fragrant, in oatmeal with cream. With sunshine and curiosity, observe the goddess of creeks and ferns, connect with heart, arrive at yet another sunset.
Good evening again. I'm Abby Bogomolny, and I will read The Lighted Pool of Dreams. Inky black of moonlit sea, our walk at midnight by the lighthouse. Warm in bundles from the cold after a dim day of rain and housebound January. At night, I fly over the hill where mist lingers in silver patches, breathe the airborne fog. A fringe of redwood fingers brushes my gleaming torso, outstretched wings glide me. I am pulled by the sureness of gravity and my love of returning to you. With the turning earth, so do we, half in sleeping, the other half sleep. We fall inside, unwind, and retreat. As green things twist and inch by inch daily toward the sun, we drift closer to the lighted pull of dreams. Invisible to eyes outside, we fall, fill ourselves and fly. Flapping and feeding, we flock like seagulls to the lighted pull of dreams.
Sitting with Lee. Goodwill lined with longing for what was and or what could still be if only settles on us, companionably couched on a moist summer evening, unspoken as we talk about the laundry, hairy moles on old women, someone's braided ear hair, and report to each other on our day. Your eyes look large behind your reading glasses, and I see your body shake when your tremoring hands rest behind your head, but we've covered that already. We marvel at the sparrow nesting on my front porch wind chime, nested as we are, arms and legs casually touching on the couch on which I rarely sit alone.
Sally Churgel, Wild Heart. We say to our dog, sit, and she sits. We say, good girl, and she wags her tail. We tame our horses by breaking them in the same way we tame our hearts. Behave, we say, good boy. You shouldn't say that, good girl. We say over and over, I am good, when a part of us believes I've been bad. Each belief is a whip to our flanks, breaking our spirit, cracking our hearts over and over. You ask forgiveness to others for the gossip, indifference, and harm you caused them. You forget to ask forgiveness for your critical self-slander, the indifference and harm you cause yourself by not listening to the still small voice within. Stop breaking the wild pony of your heart. Instead, say to your good girl and good boy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This year, turn towards that brokenness. See it anew. Look beyond the broken latches and shards of glass created by your own sorrow. See openness. Climb through into the heart of your heart, to your untamed and uncivilized heart, where the thrum of excitement and anticipation is loud. Enter your wild heart where thrives a teeming jungle of life, monkeys howling with joy, swinging carefree above the grinning hyenas of shame and the ripping teeth of self-doubt. Here, there are no civilized red lights. Here, beyond brokenness, only one light shines, the green light of love. Enter fully into the broken heart, and you will find your whole, wild, untainted, uncivilized heart. Here, there is only yes. Yes to love. Yes to life. Go deeply, and you will remember your heart is the heart of the world, and the world is the heart of God.
Once we baked cakes for the Queen of Heaven and called you by name, Astarte, Asherah, Goddess, Anat, our protector. Jeremiah told us the famine came because we honored you, And we answered, we shall not listen to you. For when we poured libations and burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and baked her cakes, we had plenty of food and saw no evil. But Jeremiah's ways prevailed, and we have gone hungry ever since. In the temple, your likeness stood for over 200 years. Though many tore you down, we restored you again and again, an ancient tug of war that we had hoped mistakenly was finally coming to an end. You joined us in our exile as Shechinah. We no longer called you Asherah, happy, because how could we? How could we be with your house in ruin? Your sacred vulva, once celebrated in menarche rites and childbirthing, reflected in the cleft of trees, the mouths of caves. Your likeness clutched by Zilpah as she gave birth to Asher, secreted by Rachel as she left her father's house. The downward-facing triangle was buried deep, trampled over with centuries of forced forgetting. It was only after the Shoah, when so many lost our faith in the God on high, did you return to us, thousands of your likenesses springing up in ancient digs throughout the motherland. You whispered to us, here I have been all along, buried deep in the soil, buried deep in your earth. I have always been here, you remind us, hidden, Astarte, Queen of Heaven, Nistar, hidden, Esther, Queen. I smile when I see you in your pink pussy hat, the downward-facing triangle reclaimed, celebrated, delighting as the two ears reach out to heaven, your chin forming the third angle, pointing to the belly of the mother. And I think, now those are hats. But as I look down at my plate of Hamantaschen, gleaming with juicy raspberry jam, succulent apricots, and poppy seeds ground in the mortar and pestles of the grandmothers, I think, these are not hats. These are cakes. Cakes luscious enough to sate the hunger of millennia. Cakes for the Queen of Heaven.
Good evening. My name is Yoná Flemming, and I've been a conga drummer most of my adult life. And this is the poem that I offered, called Drum Song. River moves through high, graceful hills. River glides to sea. River moves. Drums speaking with hand tongues, like the river water language moving. Sea voice lifting from steep, foggy slope, shields of water rising to explode. River water rushes into pounding sound. Drum.
Hi, I'm Diane Frank. My poem is Margalit. It's for Margalit Oved, Yemenite dancer and choreographer. Back in my Israeli dance troupe days, I took a few workshops with Margalit. The last time I did that, she said to us, you know, I'm getting older, and she had one of her students demonstrate the moves. So the poem tells you what I thought about that. And it has an epigram by Federico Garcia Lorca from Theory and Function of the Duende. The duende surges up from the soles of the feet. It is not a matter of ability, but of real live form, of blood, of ancient culture. The younger dancer didn't have what she did, the swaying of eucalyptus leaves in her fingers, the taste of old world salt on her breath. Margalit was like the flamenco dancer, with fire in her throat, hibiscus on her lips, belly swaying in the rhythm of the sea. Yes, I know, the violist who stopped performing before the arc of his vibrato passed its prime, the French horn player who eased himself out of the opera while his lips still had the ability to kiss his wife, the ballerina who set up a dance academy after her swan song. Margalit said her protege could execute subtle moves that her aging body did not have the ability to perform. But this is what I saw: a young tree with hollow branches, the flaming red and burnt umber of the change of season absent from her palette of painting oils. Her movements lithe, but lacking duende, too much sunshine in her hands. I wanted to feel the spice of black olives in a Yemenite market, the cucumbers and tomatoes, the drum made from the recycled tin that was filled with olive oil. I wanted to feel the rhythm of long boats pulling fish from the Mediterranean Sea, the nets of the fishermen. I wanted to watch her veined and beautiful hands gathering rosebuds from her mother's garden, brass bells dreaming on her ankles with the memory of the land where she was born and the way her mother carried her across the desert to the promised land.
Hi, I'm Dianna Glassman. I'm going to read a poem called The Muted Man. The Muted Man. Who were you, my four-eyed, glasses-wearing, shiny-headed old man, who all of his life walked so fast no one could keep up, but in the end just shuffled? The man who had such a powerful handshake that other men would cringe and show stunned faces when you shook their hands, but in the end you just sat there, plastered into your favorite red upholstered chair, holding the pink rubber ball that I bought you, squeezing it, trying to get back a little hand strength so that maybe you could hold a pencil again. Yes, you were the one who sat with me on those dirty old steps in the hallway of our walk-up when I cried because I wanted a dog so badly and she wouldn't let me have one. You'll have a dog one day, I promise, you said to the little begging girl. Later, you would take my small hands into your large ones and soap in that chipped, white, rusty, ringed sink to get them clean. So you taught me how to wash my hands, and I loved the feel of your big hands enveloping my small ones while I watched the bubbles go down the drain. And you told me those endless stories of the summer you left your parents' home to hitchhike out west for the adventure, for the getting away, for the finding of yourself. You were a young man, maybe 20 years old, and you spoke those hitchhike stories over and over and over again till the stroke cut you down and you became a muted man. I wish I could ask you, and I wish you could answer, who were you when the dark rage, the tumbling rage, the growling rage, the rage that took over and left me weak in the bladder and left my brother pummeled black and blue? Who were you then, old man? I wish you could tell me. I wish you could.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sheridan Gold, and June of 2016, I was fortunate enough to have a concert of healing music, and I asked the Good Shabbos Band to play with me, and we played a beautiful piece, Min HaMitzar, for that concert. And I wrote a poem that I shared with all the performers, and I'd like to share it with you tonight. It's called Dancing Shoes and Kleenex. I am not afraid. I am full of love and music. This is my gift. Music has been there all along, just waiting for me to let it out. It's like that, waiting. The notes lingering, the rhythms quietly pulsating, yearning to be heard. Music. It's the one thing that can unite everyone who is in its presence without any kind of coercion or conversion. Music is seduction. It seduces one into groundedness. It gently urges one to listen, deeply listen to their inside. It gently nudges the soul out of hiding. It is there, waiting, with dancing shoes or a box of Kleenex. It has no expectations. Tonight, I am the deliverer. We are all the deliverers. There are no wrong notes. There are no words or moves that are better or less than others. Let them out. Let them all out. Tonight, we are the deliverers of this gift of music to help those who are listening, laughing, zoning out, crying, dancing, healing. We are here delivering this gift that we are so privileged to hold. It will no longer be ours exclusively, nor should it be. Music has been there all along, waiting for us to give it voice and give it away. Give it to those who need it, who will be better for it. And we shall all of us, heal our hearts just a little bit more than yesterday.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dianna Grayer, and the poem I'm going to share is The Soul's Cry for Freedom. The human suffering trance. When the self ignores the self, destroys the self, denies the self, denies the truth, or doesn't look for it, avoids reality, or is just plain afraid of it. The soul, suffocated, cries for freedom. The soul is tired of the prison walls. The soul is tired of being hostage, not for a day or night, but a lifetime. Who told you to stay still, never to move, never to listen, never to risk, never to need, never to deserve, never to demand? Who told you you're not worthy when you are? Who told you not to fight back when you can? Who told you suffering was your fate when you can change? Who told you misery is your happiness when it's furthest from the truth? Suffering is not human nature. Hear the cries. Keep listening, even though it's hard, even though it hurts, even though it's terrifying. Let them flow, the tears, for all the distracted years. Follow the wisdom of your soul. Be the person you were meant to be, not the person you settled on being. Eviction of the old and spaciousness for the new. Listen to your soul's cry for freedom. Freedom. Freedom.
Oh my goodness. You know, folks, I looked at these poems and I read them. I didn't know that these poets could also read their poems so beautifully. I am as delighted and surprised as everybody else. Thank you, poets, for giving voice so beautifully and so movingly. Yes, as Rabbi Rachel said, it is so moving to hear these words aloud. So we have 15 minutes in which to stretch, in which to maybe get up and get a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or whatever. And Sherry Brenner, our wonderful technology maven, has just put in the chat a link where you can click right now, if you are so inclined, to look at the Bayit website page dedicated to our book, which has the link that you'll buy the book on Amazon. We want to support Bayit in every way we can. And so we are making the point of publicizing the link to the Bayit page. And then on that page, you'll find the Amazon link. That's currently the way to buy the book. That's fine. Our next entertainment for you is going to be a creative endeavor for all of us. And Reb Irwin is going to lead us in that.
Well, again, thank you, Leiah. Thank you, Rabbi Rachel, and thank you, poets. We are taking this little interval for you to get up and move around. And then we'll come back together for more presentation from poets. And we'll close tonight with Havdalah to say goodbye to Shabbat. For those who want to stay for Havdalah, and there's no requirement, come and go as you would like in our salon. But during this break, an invitation for us to create a poem together. We're going to create a found poem. And I'm going to put the prompt into the chat for you to write 4 words. Just 4 words, either something I'm feeling now or something I'm perceiving in my environment. Just 4 words without looking at what other people are writing. Just whatever grabs your attention inside or outside of you. And we'll have the fun of reading that back as some poetry. So in the meantime, go ahead and take your break, and we'll be back together in about 10 minutes. Maybe we'll start giving over the poem that we're creating as it's being created. Sunset over the Pacific, inner beauty, truths exposed, and live and warmth, juicy love, touched and awed by words, inspired, humbled, overflowing hearts. Luminous voices illuminate longing, dancing with twirling angels. Sounds of impatience, fullness, united by like-minded folk. Come, joy, discovering faith, amazed, moved, love together, peaceful dusk and sharing, amazement, warmth, connection, love. My wings can carry me, chopping onions, peppers, and garlic, mellifluous, deep, diving hearts, thirsty for the world, delighted, blessing, soulful, heart beating, delighted, blessing, soulful, heart beating. Angel wings revealing themselves, infinite certificates of authenticity. Sunset inner, enlivened, touched, inspired, shining, luminous, dancing, sounds united, calm, amazed, peaceful amazement, my chopping, mellifluous, thirsty, delighted, angel infinite. Authenticity themselves, heart-beating world, heart's garlic me. Love sharing together, faith, folk fullness, angels longing, hearts full, words love exposed, Pacific.
Oh, Rabbi Irwin, we are so lucky that you're our rabbi, that you unleash your creativity so openly with what seems to be such freedom and such joy. Thank you for facilitating our group poem and making of it a beautiful song. The next portion of our evening is going to be the second group of poets reading their work. Now, there are two poets who decided that they would rather have someone else read their work. And the first poet who made that decision is Basha, who is in the Mojave Desert, I believe, having a lot of fun, nowhere near a computer. And she has asked me to read her poem, which is Farewell by Basha. Leaving on a trip is a little like dying. The last meal cooked, the last sunset, the leather chair still bearing your form like a silhouette. Soon you will be gone, but who knows quite how long. The revolving door swings round and the dishes are put on their shelves. The golden haze of afternoon leaves a crimson kiss. Sky slowly darkens, fragile as the first star of evening, a promise of return.
I have the honor of reading for Myrna Joy, Within Me. Like the waters of the river, running to the land so wide, to the sea's edge, ever merging with the ocean's ebbing tide. Like the motions of the high tide, like the motions of the low, so my love is this eternal, growing warm with inner glow. My love shall keep eternal through the high times and the low, and like the waters in the river, shall run and grow, shall run and grow, until it becomes a river, and only you can see that the waters of this river are running deeply within me.
I wonder before my poem if Myrna Joy would like to say hello.
I'm Myrna Joy, and I love writing poetry, and I'm very grateful for being allowed to have Sally read for me. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Myrna. I'm Reb Irwin. This poem, The Scent of Shechinah, was a reflection about a Torah portion called Ki Tisa. The Scent of Shechinah. In the journey in the desert, what will you be? Goat herd, guide, gopher, priest, prophet, perfumer? There in the wilderness amid scrub and thorns to make a mishkan, a holy pop-up sanctuary where tablets are kept and where Shechinah dwells, will you share your arts? Your clever fingers shuttling the fine yarns and dyes, making curtains and covers, beams and basins, and gold cherubim face to face, framing the divine face between. Will you make it not just a feast for the eyes, but one for the nose as well, a place for ascent through scent? Torah gives the recipe. Take 500 shekels of myrrh, says God, half that much of cinnamon, a spice so old that even in Torah it is already called kineman, and another 250 of k'neh, calamus root, and 500 of kidah, that's cassia, another bark with some bite. Grind to a pulp, Torah hints. Then blend with olive oil to make a rich balm that is not burned but rubbed on altar and ark and lampstand and utensils, greasing the fittings with good smelling goop. These are not like the fragrances of today. Today, chemicals cooked in corporate labs are carrier waves for smells that might once have had something to do with nature, possibly, or maybe not even. But in this old time, in the desert, scents were devised with sensibility. Mortar and pestle, delights olfactory, made of industry, but no factory. A time when the word natural was not needed before fragrance, because what else would it be? Things smelled of what they were. The perfume smelled of cinnamon. It did not smell like cinnamon. Not like now, not like the reek of detergents and soaps and candles and air fresheners, toxic mimics of nature, slowly degrading in bathroom dispensers or plugged into walls, or worst of all, in a taxi from which there is no escape, while the meter racks up in dollars and cents the cost of breathing this offense. But not in the 1 part cinnamon, 2 parts myrrh, cassia, calamus, oil. Stir. We never know how we'll serve until we get there, but what if it were you whose job was to make the perfume? What if this were your service, the product of your wise heart, your skilled fingers, your much maligned Jewish nose? You, the rokeach, the aromatist. You whose work is to waft what Yahweh wants to whiff. At the end of your long day, crushing, stirring, anointing all that is holy, pans, poles, and priests, would you come home empty-handed as God commanded? Or would you risk retribution and sneak some for yourself? A trace behind the ear, a drop in the soft of your wrist, as enticement for a lover, as invitation to a dream, as memory of Shechinah, and a reminder that you, too, are God.
Good evening. I'm Barbara Lesch McCaffrey. The poem I'm reading is Shofar Soundings. It was written for a shofar service during Rosh Hashanah several years ago as a way into the prayerfulness of the shofar blowing. Tekiyah. The sound reverberates to the inner core, calling us in to listen deeply, delve inside, stop, cease, savor as it scatters to silence. 1. Malhuyot, the divine rules in us. Tikiyah, the sound that calls us to justice, to caring for the peoples of this planet, for the life forces that encircle us, both animate and inanimate, the pebbles underfoot, the rush of water, the breath of wind, the embrace of sun that turns beyond ourselves to listen. Tikiyah, to act from our hearts, to live in harmony, to act justly, not just for ourselves. The sound echoes and enters us. Tikiyah, shevarim truah, tikiyah. 2. Zikranot, remembrance. The sound unheard yet hearkened, a whisper of wind, a murmur of water, the prayer of our heart. The words leave our lips and float outward. Listen, tikiyah. They are heard beyond us, reverberate in the world, spark in us, in all of us, the will to nurture actions that preserve, transform, transcend. Tikiyah, shevarim, tikiyah. 3. Shofarot, the divine redeems. The sound builds within and around us, enfolding, embracing, enhancing our awareness, connecting us to all creation, healing our broken hearts, inspiring us as we breathe in the notes, holding each and holding us as community, as humans on this journey of discovery. It implores us to embody, to include, to move beyond ourselves. As the shofar calls, lifting us, filling us, may we echo its intent in our lives and in this world. Tikiyah, Truah, Tikiyah, Gedulah.
Well done, Barbara. You done good, kid.
My name is Margo Miller. This poem is called Even This Late, and it's subtitled Kintsugi, which is the Japanese philosophy of mending something that's broken, not to hide the break, but to make it even more precious. Even this late. A piece of cracked china can be mended. Not like new, never like new, but strong and usable. Even that which is inflammable can be burned. Even that which is immutable. Even that which is indelible. Even that for which it is too late. Even too late, perhaps the damage can be repaired. Even this late, it happens.
Hi, my name is Susan Miller, and years ago I wrote a series of poems about my bubby, my grandmother on my father's side. This one is called Bubby. Peddling your milk, pushing the wagon, a glass of milk, pour me some too. Meisters of your village, mince gaberna, preparing piroshki, rolling challah dough for Shabbos, tasting the imberlach, polishing the candlesticks, a piece of chicken, a piece of meat, a clean dress. Shabbos is here. Okay.
Hi, my name is Cindy Norwitz, and I have a poem that I wrote as an alternative to part of the prayer for the Amidah within the Jewish service, and it is called Avodah, which means service or work. I built my house from goat hair on poles, opened a flap and offered you bread, with milk to drink down your promises and plant them for later. I built a house from mud, sweat, and straw. For one frightening night, you sheltered with me, then led me to a place without bricks. I built you a house from acacia and gold, bejeweled and bewildered. You stayed and wandered the desert with me. I built you a house of stone to stand for 1,000 years. I catch glimpses of you in the rubble. Now I build you houses of pine and oak, beaten metal and gypsum, spires to catch the sun, shingles to roll the rain. In this house I built, may the work of my breath fill you with longing to plant your feet in the dust of 1,000 prayers and dwell.
Hi, my name is Linda Pantosky. I'm unmuted. My poem is called Inheritance. This is my inheritance, all that breathes and flourishes, that improbably thrives, all that grasps this earth with bones and stalks that will weary and bend, all that muses the senses with scents, sights, sounds, humbling and whelming, mine. Graced astoundingly with this infinite inheritance, to waste a moment is to miss something, anything. Stay awake, breathe deeply, plumb resolutely with the finite number of breaths inherited, borrowed, bestowed, mine. As creeks and gaps slack the hurry, tilt toward every hue, every aroma, savor, adore, welcome brilliance and ripeness to soothe the creeks, to bless the gaps sweetly, softly, mine. Tenderness unfurls as the weave loosens, as purpose wanes. Lust for what is expansive, vital. Vow to follow the color and waft that suits this day only. No color too saturated nor muted, no scent too strong, no chord too deep, never too much of this feast, mine.
My name is Rita Rowan, and I'm going to read a poem called A Revisit. My dad, a dark-haired, brown-eyed people person, knew what a knee crossed over a seated, bent leg meant. He recognized darting eyes in a presentation, or fixed gazes, and slightly nodding heads, bobbing their approval. He had a people filter, a good one. He said, too, that he would return in the future to applaud my mom, her reincarnated self, a ballerina on the New York stage. He had a people filter, a good one, loving my mama. Today, his great-grandson with my mama's spun gold hair, age 7, stands before me in a Mexican restaurant. Sparkling cornflower blue eyes stare up at me, not dark brown ones. I get up to hold a door for a woman on crutches. Her black booted leg barely skims the floor, impeding her steps. A heavy rectangular red purse dangles and opens like Pandora's box. I pull out a chair for her, settle her down slowly. My grandson watches and stares. Grammy, that was very nice of you. You put her in that chair so carefully, like a mama bird touching her baby in a nest. I see my father then, a people person, applauding from the 5th row center, an old family story.
Daphne Jo Simon could not be with us tonight, but I'm going to read her poem. Daphne is a songwriter, a folk singer. Her poem is Strong Ties. To say that we're friends isn't saying enough. We're a feeling better left unsaid. My life in a vision is a woven stuff, and each time I know you see in a pattern emerging, essential, one thread becoming. Say that we're music, a song to be sung. I'm a melody all my own. The harmony of us blending into one notion of balance, here as we sing us, emerging, essential, unknown, becoming. Strong ties whenever you're here. More and more distance is bringing you near. The times we're together, quelling my fear of bonds being broken and words left unspoken. Hey, look, we're still open. Connection clear. Say we're a rainbow, touching land, reaching stars. Oh, beloved child of sunshine and rain, the colors created are uniquely ours as perception. We touch us, intangible, something emerging, essential refrain, becoming. Strong ties, whenever you're here. More and more distance is bringing you near. The times we're together, quelling my fear of bonds being broken and words left unspoken. Hey, look, we're still open, connection clear.
I'm Judy Temko, and I'm reading a poem entitled Blankety Blank Page, which is a poem that my husband Phil wrote when he was in his 90s. It's really a poem about writing poetry, so it's an interesting one for the end. Blankety Blank Page. The poem that refuses to come to, no, wait a minute. The poem that refuses to come in from the cold to warm itself before the soul's still glowing hearth fire. No message this morning from the mind to the impatient heart, telling of its likely time of arrival. Where's this morning's simile, which, like a nuthatch, creeps headfirst down the tree trunk to the ground of my being? Or the oddly missing metaphor, oh, patio squirrels scarfing up sunflower seeds, then vanishing up the tree among the branches of my imagination. Where the hell are you, poem? I leave my window open, wide, wide open.
Again, thank you all, not only for your poems, but your reading. It was beautiful. I think now we're going to have, if anyone has any questions for any of the poets or editors or anything about the creation of this book.
I have a comment, Leiah.
Yes, please, Barbara.
And it was your luminous presence. As I was reading, you were on my screen, beaming. And it was so helpful, and it has been the ground that you've stood for all of us as this volume has come into creation. And we owe you such thanks for your dedication and the joy that you've brought to the process.
Thank you, Barbara. It was a joyful process for me, and I certainly appreciate your words of praise and appreciation. It was a group effort, and yes, I was the leader, but you know, a leader doesn't do anything without the team. Any other questions or comments? I'd like to reiterate again that we are going to be getting a box of books. There will be one book for each contributor, whether you were a poet or a photographer. That's our way of thanking you materially. And for those of you who would like to come by and buy a book autographed by one of us, great. We'll let you know when those books arrive. I have no idea when that'll be. But meanwhile, I'm going to click, and there you go. I put the link in the chat again. If you can't wait, you just want to order a book now, because of course you're going to want to order more than one book, right? Right. So I think now we're going to lean into our ending Shabbat. I see it's dark outside, and Reb Irwin is going to take us in his capable vision and lead us out.
Leiah, could you show us the cover before you go?
Well, if Irwin's sort of, there you go. There's the cover of the book.
With Leiah's beautiful artwork on the cover. This beautiful angel painting that we've enjoyed in so many ways in our. It just felt right for this to be, to give wings to this volume.
I appreciate being able to have lent that image to this book.
So as Leiah said, we're going to do a little Havdalah to say goodbye to Shabbat, and I'm putting the blessings into the chat. If you have a little bit of wine, it might be fine to pour that. If you have something fragrant, some rosemary or a traditional spice box, it might be nice to have that at arm's length. So you'll have your wine at the ready, your fragrant spices or aromatic herbs, so that we remember the sweetness of Shabbat and we're revived enough to be able to move through the arc of the week until we can come back to Shabbat full of anticipation and full of longing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ruach haolam Borei peri hagafen Borei peri hagafen Amen. Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ruach haolam Borei minei v'samim Borei minei v'samim. Amen. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ruach haolam Borei meorei haesh Borei meorei haesh. Amen. Ya la da 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 da, ya la da 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 da, ya la da 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 da, ya da da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da da. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ruach haolam Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Amen. Shavua Tov. We have a Ladino. Hang on. We have a Ladino Havdalah song wishing us the blessings of a good week. And I just popped the words into the chat. So feel free to join me at home. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Alegres y sanos. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Alegres y sanos. A mis hijos bendecir. A mis hijos bendecir. Que me los deje Dios vivir alegres y sanos. Buena semana, mos del Dios, alegres y sanos. Buena semana, buena semana, buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, buena semana. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Para fadar y circuncir, para fadar y circuncir, para poner el tefilín. Buena semana, mos del Dios, alegres y sanos. A vuestros padres bien honrar, a vuestros padres bien honrar, y a los novios alegrar. Buena semana, mos del Dios, alegres y sanos. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Muestra Torah venerar, Jerusalén ensalzar. Buena semana, mos del Dios, alegres y sanos. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Alegres y sanos. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Alegres y sanos. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, mos del Dios. Buena semana, Shavua Tov, a good, happy, blessed, healthy week. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, Leiah, our shepherd, our editor-in-chief, our inspiration, the fuel in our engines, the wind under our wings. Thank you, all the editors. Thank you, all the poets, and thank you, everyone who came to celebrate with us. Leiah, give you the last word.
And thank you, Reb Irwin, for taking us out with such a beautiful, rousing song. May we all have a beautiful, sweet, healthy, joyous week. May it be good for everybody and everybody we love. I'll be here. I want to stay around just to quell a little bit. And if you need to leave, want to leave, that's fine. I'll be here. I'll be happy to speak with people, to ask questions, to chat, to do whatever. What a wonderful thing. If this were in 4 months, we'd be together. You know, we'd maybe, I hope, but we're not, so we can pretend. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And a thank you to Sherry Brenner for handling all matters technological tonight. Thank you, Sherry.
Absolutely. Sherry is the magic tonight. She made sure that everything worked. Thank you very much, Sherry. And thank you again, my editors, my co-editors. What a great team. So why don't you open up your mics if you would like to chat and have at it.
And also for those who would like to hang out to count the Omer, which does not take long, but is what we're doing these days. Shoshana might be willing to lead us in counting the Omer.
I think that's a great idea.
Love you too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What a beautiful evening. How blessed are we, this community. And thank you to the editors for all your amazing work. It's very fitting. Tonight we are moving into Malchut Sheba Chesed. So just Shechinah of love, love all the way down into manifestation, that our book launch is the manifestation of love in the world and the love of Ner Shalom going out into the world. So Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer hayom shiva yamim. Is that right?
Yes, Shiva.
Yes. Shechem Shavua Echad LaOmer. Today is 7 days of the Omer, which is 1 week of the Omer, Malchut Sheba Chesed.
Thank you so much, Shoshana. Our book too, you know, it's a combination of the sacred and the informal, not the profane. And so I love it. I love that this congregation flows so sweetly and with such open arms between the liturgy that has come down to us and the liturgy that we create from our hearts.
I just wanted to thank Sally and Abby by name and tell them that I am so appreciative. I've learned so much from the two of you as well as Leiah. And it was a wonderful experience working with you on this book. And thank you, Sally. You've taught me so much. And thank you, Abby, you too. You know, Leiah really, as we know, just was remarkable. But the two of you were really just such a joy to work with. So I want to thank you deeply for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Rita. Abby, I don't know if we could have gotten over the finish line without you. And Leiah, oh my God, definitely the wings under the wind.
It was so enjoyable to work with you all. It was so smooth, and I don't think I've ever done a publishing project with people that it was so smooth and easy. And every time I did anything, all of you were so appreciative, and I was hanging on my email every moment to see, you know, how you would respond to my, you know, my suggestions. And I was a little afraid, oh my God, I'm saying this, what are they going to think, you know, but you were like, oh yeah, you know. So it was a joy. It was like surfing, you know, in an amaze, and the waves were coming my way. It was just beautiful. So thank you. We'll continue. We will continue, because there will be reprints.
Oh,
and maybe in the light too, you know, in the light of peace too. So
right. For those of you who may have come in later, I mentioned in the beginning that our wonderful book nonetheless has some mistakes. And so we are going to correct them and come out with a slightly different version, different only in that the mistakes are corrected, and they're not huge mistakes. Yeah. So, but we'll let you all know when that happens.
Yeah. Most people won't even notice them.
No.
You know, so.
Is that why it's going to take 3 weeks for the next books to arrive?
Well, we have to wait until we have to wait till we have all the mistakes identified and then corrected. And then we need to send them to Rachel. And because Rachel is a congregational rabbi and a mom and has other things in her life, it might take her longer than some, big conglomerate that just does nothing but publishing to really get to it. Although she's been really remarkable. I am so amazed. This woman who is a poet, she lives from her heart. She's like us. And she's running a publishing company and has been responsive in ways that have impressed me so much. So hopefully about 3 weeks.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the first edition, first printing is going to be rare and quite valuable.
Oh yes, hang on to it. Buy it now. Actually, that really did occur to me.
I just realized that
they're the one with the godly mistakes in them.
I just realized that what we can do, on this the back of the title page, usually when a publisher decides to go to press and changes something very small, they put a little number here. You ever see a bunch of numbers and you're going, what are those numbers? It's not it's a mark for them to know, oh yeah, that was the October redo. Whoop, there's the December redo, and so we can, when there are no numbers, it means it's the very first one. If the second one, we could put our own favorite numbers, and that'll be the second redo.
It's so wonderful to have an expert on our team. Diane Frank, are you still here? Diane Frank. Diane Frank is also a published poet who also has recently published a book of poetry called Light and Fog.
Yes.
Poets celebrating San Francisco, which she has told us is doing very well. And please, all of you who are still on this call, know that if you have some expertise or even just experience with publishing books, putting books together, please let me know. Although this book is finished and we have no plans to create another one anytime soon, you never know.
Yeah, anyway, coming soon, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Leiah's ready for another one right now.
Well, I have 2 of my own that I'd like to get out, but I know how it is when you see that something has been done by a group of people. It's very tempting to think, oh, they're the people who do it. Well, this happens to be the people who did it. You could be part of the people who did it next time. We're open.
The book is really beautiful. I mean, just as an object, the book is really beautiful and it feels good in the hands, and this velveteen cover is wonderful, and the printing is gorgeous. I mean, it's, there are books that I am excited about and then I get them and then I just kind of don't even want to hold them. This one is just so lovely.
I'll
the
tell
vibration.
I have a very dear friend who was on this Zoom call a while ago. I don't know if she's still here, who lives on the East Coast, so she's probably not here anymore. She is an extremely discerning person, an extremely intelligent, well-read, discerning person who is a born copy editor. She looks at a page and those things that shouldn't be pop up. She said she got the book and she couldn't put it down. She loved the poems so much. And so I think we did good.
You sure
Thank
did.
you all.
Thank you, Irwin, for the suggestion in the first place. That was lovely.
That's right. And thank you, Shoshana, for having given that marvelous poem at Addison's bar mitzvah, which then spurred Irwin to think, maybe it's time we had a poetry book. It was your poem.
Oh, well, you guys did an amazing job, and it's such a gift for us to have this.
Are we calling it a night?
Yeah.
Thank you, my friends, for coming and joining us. I'm so moved. Okay,
Hugs
1, 2, 3.
everywhere.
Mwah.
Hugs.
Hugs. Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Night.